The sport sponsored by Rapid Radios. Padres won a thriller last night on a walk-off hit from Elias Diaz, 7-6. They'll be back tonight, 6:40, same time, same place, Petco Park. New York is currently favored on the money line at -130. Sean Manaea will be going for the Mets, while Ryan Berger will be going for the Padres. The run total is set at 8.5. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can keep in touch up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free shipping.
Welcome to the Fletch Zone.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
Well, don't keep us in suspense any longer. Show us what you got.
No fluff, just facts.
Machado got hit twice. There's some bad blood going both ways.
A split under the arch.
The Padres able to gain a split of this 4-game series. They end up going 5-5 on the road trip.
As the Padres head back home. Tonight, it's the Mets at Petco. NFL camps are fully underway.
We have extremely high expectations. I don't even know any other way to think.
Terry, like a lot of people, doesn't know me. I'd love to get to know Terry on a deeper level. And I feel like if he gave me a chance to get to know him, then we'd have a good friendship.
Feels good, right? Plus,
Is there a chance that Justin Jefferson is faking this injury? And I can understand why, because the Minnesota Vikings go from Kirk Cousins to Sam Darnold, where he puts up 1,000 yards, to now J.J. McCarthy. Am I really about to do this again? You're really asking me for my third quarterback over the last 5 years? What if Justin Jefferson wants out? There's my NFL conspiracy. There's my NFL conspiracy. There's my NFL conspiracy.
The things we think and do not say.
now it's time to enter the Fletch Zone.
And let's get it going on a Tuesday. What up, everybody? My name is Ben Fletcher. That is Sammy Long. We are with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. If it's your first time listening to us, hey, we appreciate you. Thanks for being here. We'll get lots of fun today on the show. Sammy, was that yesterday's open?
I did. I played the wrong one. CJ cut us a brilliant open. So stay tuned for 1 o'clock where we get the real open for today.
You'll have to wait for hour 2 for that one. We're saving that one, but we got lots to get to. What a game last night at Petco Park. Was that one of the better games of the baseball season so far? I had a lot of fun watching it. Sammy, that was a fun one last night, wasn't it?
That game was unbelievable. I mean, we're going to get into it a lot today, but to go from losing the whole Dylan Cease aspect, getting hit by a pitch, giving up the grand slam, going, oh no. I mean, this is just kind of the downturn right before the trade deadline, and then to have a rise, just Fernando robbing home runs, hitting walk-off hits.
Xander Bogaerts leading baseball in like every significant hitting category for a month is insane. Something that was not on our bingo card.
Jim Russell owes Xander Bogaerts an apology.
I think we all do, and just pray that the Major League Baseball offices aren't running around with any tests anytime soon, because Xander Bogaerts is looking like a different human being these days, and hopefully that is all natural. But as we get going here today on a Tuesday, thinking about last night's game, that play by Fernando Tatis Jr. that you referenced is one of the plays of the season so far, and it happened with one of the superstars in this league. Fernando Tatis Jr. robbing a home run. Dylan Cease gets hit on the head by Francisco Lindor, a one-hopper back at the mound. There was a botched bunt in the 9th inning. There was a walk-off single from Elias Diaz, one of the craziest games of the season so far, and it came at a pretty good time for the San Diego Padres, who are in the middle of this huge pack of NL teams who are all fighting for the same postseason spots. And it felt like that was an important one to get with the Mets, who have been on fire recently, 7-game win streak heading into last night, and with a game that looked like it was lost. And guess what? A month ago, it would have been a loss for the Padres. But for whatever reason, the offense has a little fight in them. The bullpen continues to be good. This Padres team does feel a little bit different than it felt a month ago, where they were kind of lost at sea for a while or sleepwalking through games. We're going to get to it all today on a Tuesday. We got a great ticket giveaway for you. We'll tell you about in just a little bit. We're going to hit the big three in a second. Kevin Acee coming up at 1:30 today, talking some Padres, talking some trade deadline, and talking about the future of Major League Baseball, because coming up in 2 years, there may be some issues for guys like Kevin Acee, whose livelihood depend on covering baseball day in and day out. We'll get to all of that in the second hour of the show. Right now, it is time for the big three. Before we hit that, Sammy, at 12:45, we do something called long shots every single day. Are we rocking a 6-day streak of getting all but one long shots?
Yeah, I don't know I'm the king of almost recently.
You are the king of almost, and as we know, that doesn't count for anything.
It's the Miz. I need to stop doubting the Miz. I put under on strikeouts. He hit the over. Spencer Strider, I told you he was going to get the under. KC absolutely blasted him through the lineup. And then Minnesota pitcher went over on strikeouts. So yeah, very, very frustrating streak, but it's a setback for the comeback. Okay,
feels like today's the day where something special is going to happen. In fact, maybe we even go to 4 people today and try to get a win out of it.
I love it. Always double down.
I like it. All right, Sammy, let's get to the big three. Top stories in the world of sports. Sammy Long, smash that button.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
All right, if you want to watch the show, a couple ways for you to do so on X at Fletch and Sammy. You can find us there. Give us a follow. And on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760. That one stays live from 12 to 6. So jump on, subscribe, do all the things. John and Jim will be on it right after we are. Sammy, where are we starting today?
All right, Padres, massive win last night. Who was the biggest winner, though, individually last night for the Padres?
On the Padres? I mean, Elias Diaz is the obvious answer, right? Fernando Tatis Jr. would be number 2. But for me, it is Xander Bogaerts all the way. Another 3-hit performance for him last night. The guy's on fire. Came up with a big hit late last night once again. Xander Bogaerts, we apologize sincerely here on the Fletch Zone, me and Sammy Long, for everything bad we said about you 2 months ago, because you are shoving it in everyone's faces right now. And all the people online, on X, on wherever, who have been trashing Xander Bogaerts all year, we all look pretty stupid right now. Keep it up, man. Finish off this season hot.
My biggest winner is a guy who didn't play last night.
Oh, boy.
AJ Preller.
Really?
I think AJ Preller, this is the kind of game.
And this was a trick question, Sammy. You didn't tell me front office employees were allowed to be in this.
I didn't want you to take mine. AJ Preller, I think, was the biggest winner last night. That is the kind of performance, not to overreact or underreact. It's one game for a massive season, but the kind of performance of you get down 5-1 is looking pretty bleak. What did they show in the broadcast last night? The Padres have something like 8 comeback wins over the last season or since 2024 when they're down 4 or more runs. That's the kind of performance comeback last night that you can go sell to a front office, to an ownership group that clearly doesn't want to spend that much money. And as shown in the offseason, has really kind of hamstrung everything AJ Preller wants to do. And the fact that he was able to land Gavin Sheets on a small contract, Nick Pivetta backloading the money the last 2 years of the deal, though that deal probably wouldn't have gotten done. When we don't know with ownership, there's been some rumors about possibly certain players being frustrated with the fact that maybe AJ Preller has his hands tied behind his back because the ownership's not really letting him do stuff. This is the kind of performance that if you're teetering on the edge, might be able to push you over the edge to convince you to buy. These things matter. This is a big series, and it came against a really good team, a team that if the Padres make the postseason, they likely will be playing because the Mets are really solid competition. I thought it was a massive win last night and excited really for tonight and tomorrow.
Well, to further that point, it was also the way the Padres fought back. It was immediate every time. The Mets take the lead in the second inning, right? They get up 1-0, and then in the third inning, Padres get that run right back. And then in the fifth inning, when the grand slam happens, they go down 4, boom, bottom of the fifth, they get it right back. It was the immediate fighting back for me. That was huge, and it showed a lot from this team. Now, if we could see that more often, that'd be great. Because like I said, a month ago, this is not a win last night. But now, for whatever changed, maybe it was Manny Machado getting pissed off. Maybe it was the benches clearing that brought this team together. I don't know what it was, but that was a different ball club we saw playing last night than we would have seen a month ago.
And I know they only had a 1-0 lead, the Mets, and then they tied it, went 5-1. But they showed at the beginning of the broadcast, the Padres have the second best record in Major League Baseball when they score first. They didn't score first last night. So you're kind of looking at, and I remember Mud said on the broadcast, there's a lot of time left in this game, which was obvious. But when you get down 4 runs, it's looking pretty bleak on trade deadline week. And the fact that they were able to respond was big. Okay, number 2, let's stick with the Padres. Big win last night. Did Dylan Cease get himself traded last night?
See, I don't know, because watching the game, I didn't think Dylan Cease was bad. I really didn't. His pitch count was way up there, but he was either striking dudes out or it was a weird Dylan Cease performance. It was a very 2025 Dylan Cease performance. But I do think he should have been pulled out of the game. He was up over 100 pitches by the time he actually got yanked in the 5th inning. But Dylan Cease, who wasn't bad last night, just gave up a lot of runs. I feel like if there's 4 GMs around the league looking at it, they're like, oh, that's a performance we could work with. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
He gave up 5 runs, but I didn't think he was necessarily that bad. He had 9 strikeouts in the game. There were times where he was looking unhittable, and then one bad pitch leads to that. Also, he got hit in the head last night. What if he was feeling a little kooky?
I 100% agree.
Maybe a little concussed.
The easy thing to come on for any talk radio is to go, Dylan Cease sucks, get him out of town. If you watch that game,
well, there's plenty of that online too.
There's plenty of, and I understand people being frustrated. I know Fernando saved him with the home run at the wall there, but watching Dylan Cease, he opened the game with 3 strikeouts. You pointed out he had 9. I put last night's Dylan Cease strictly, and I'm going to get into this more next segment, on Mike Schilt. I was extremely frustrated with how he handled Dylan Cease in that game. Take aside the fact that of the game, you have bases loaded. You had Jeremiah Estrada warming in the pen. Then you had David Morgan start warming up. The so-called 4 horsemen that Mike Schilt has coined has been extremely solid this year. He's at 96 pitches when he gets that second strikeout. Then he goes up against Mark Vientos, by the way, who Mike Schilt had intentionally walked Jeff McNeil to get to Mark Vientos. I know Jeff McNeil's been hot, but Mark Vientos is a really solid player. He was kind of the catalyst for them making a run at the NLCS last year. I know he didn't get the call in that kind of elevated sinker, and maybe we're talking about a strikeout and a punch out there, but I did not understand Mike Schilt from this perspective. If Dylan Cease is staying or getting traded, let's say he's staying, the confidence of, hey, let's not have him out there in a bases loaded situation when he has been struggling. Oh, and by the way, if he wants to get traded, no other ball club's going to remember the 9 strikeouts. They're not going to remember, to what you pointed out, him getting smashed in the back of the head with the baseball. What they are going to remember, because they watch SportsCenter, is him getting taken deep on Mark Vientos. So I don't know what Mike Schilt was doing in that regard. He was already at 96 pitches. I would have pulled him. I know hindsight's 20/20, but you could be killing trade value for Dylan Cease, which could be really crucial this week heading up to Thursday.
Real quick before we get off the Padres, how about Adrian Morejon last night? How about Adrian Morejon all season? 4 strikeouts. I think he faced 5 batters. Morejon was fantastic once again. Suarez tried to give it up. He really did give it up a run in the ninth. But a fun game for the 4 horsemen -1 maybe. But I didn't think Dylan Cease was that bad. He just gave up the one really bad pitch. You got one more for us, Sammy?
Yes. All right. Let's head to the NFL.
I like
the National Football League. I saw this morning. It was on First Take, and I thought it was an interesting conversation. What quarterback has more pressure going on them into this year? Both quarterbacks have apparently been struggling in camp per many reports. Caleb Williams for the Bears or J.J. McCarthy for the Minnesota Vikings?
So J.J. McCarthy weirdly does have a ton of pressure on him this year because it's his first time playing in an NFL game, or it will be in, a month and a half now? We're getting pretty close. But J.J. McCarthy, that'll be the first time he's ever stepped foot on an NFL field in an NFL game. And it's coming off a year where the Vikings won 14 games with Sam Darnold as their quarterback and then let Sam Darnold walk for not an insane contract, by the way. Like, the Vikings could have paid it. So if you're J.J. McCarthy, just understanding the situation that you're stepping into, rightfully or not rightfully, J.J. McCarthy has a ton of pressure on him to keep that up because the Vikings are essentially the same team they were a year ago, just with a different quarterback this year. Personally, I would put more pressure on Caleb Williams, because he was supposed to be a star coming out of college, because he was supposed to have all the tools and ready to go. And Caleb Williams impressed nobody last year. He held on the ball way too long. Apparently, he wasn't great at watching film. He wasn't great at understanding the playbook. Well, the playbook gets more complicated with Ben Johnson. Have you seen the videos coming out of Chicago's training camp where they say
them running the trick plays?
It looks like a JV offense, is how it was described by one beat writer out in Chicago. So they got a lot to figure out. And Caleb Williams, unfortunately, this is your deal, dude. They're doing stuff they never did for Justin Fields. They're doing it for you. You've been surrounded by an offensive line that they've spent for. They've drafted wide receivers over the last couple of years. They go tight end early in this year's draft. Is that right?
Yeah, Loveland out of Michigan.
Like, they are surrounding you with the talent, Caleb Williams, and they've sort of propped this thing up for you to succeed. So for me, it's Caleb Williams all day long. But I can understand the J.J. McCarthy side.
Both have a lot. I'd probably lean Caleb Williams. That's the obvious answer. He's year 2. Now, I do think it was premature what we and I was one of those people. I was really high on the Bears last year, but what we saw was they had all the weapons. They drafted Rome Odunze. They had Keenan Allen. They had no offensive line. They had no defensive line. They were all built on the boundaries, and you don't win in the NFL like that. So, yes, he's year 2, number 1 overall draft pick. They fixed the offensive line. They got Tooney from the Chiefs, Drew Dalman over at center. Then they got a bunch of defensive linemen coming in, too. And Loveland coming out of Michigan. So I get him, and he's got a new head coach. He has everything he needs to produce. But in regards to J.J. McCarthy, the Minnesota Vikings have shown you that they have no problem moving off big-time quarterbacks. They moved off Kirk Cousins, who won them a lot of games over the years and had a few big playoff wins that won on the road against New Orleans. Then Sam Darnold, who had a 14-3 record. This guy led him to 14 wins. They blow him out the very next year. J.J. McCarthy coming off an ACL. Justin Jefferson was talking on NFL Network this morning about how, it's hard to – it is weird working in a thing where a quarterback who is coming to a team that has high expectations, that was 1 win away from being the number 1 seed in the NFC last year, is now learning on the job. With, by the way, one of the best receiving cores in the entire league between Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and TJ Hawkinson is the top 5 tight ends. So both guys have a ton of pressure. It's going to be fun watching the NFC North. I mean, you have all young quarterbacks. Hell, Jordan loves a young quarterback. The only guy that's kind of a veteran there is Jared Goff. But that division is going to be really fun. And the way that the NFL turns out quarterbacks, Arch Manning's coming in next year. So no time to waste.
Well, there's a catcher who's been taken off the market in Major League Baseball. We're going to get to the Padres trade deadline and a little deeper into last night's game coming up next. But our buddy Tyler on YouTube saying Almost by Bowling for Soup should be Sammy's theme song. Maybe we come back with that at 12:45.
Let's do it. Tyler,
Okay.
I appreciate you looking out.
And our buddy Rich on YouTube saying twice going under with the Miz. Sammy, you got to hit on him next week.
Yes, we will be hitting his over, and then what we know will happen
He's
is
going to have the worst game of his career.
worst game of his career. But Rich, I'm with you. I'm no more betting under on the Miz.
All right, if you want to find us on YouTube, just search San Diego Sports 760. Give us a subscription there. It stays live from 12 to 6 every single day. John and Jim take it over right after we get off. It's San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. Deeper into the Padres we go coming up next, as well as we will let you know what tickets are on the line for you today. That's next, live on San Diego Sports 760. San Diego Sports 760. We all remember that one teacher who made a difference, who believed in us, who challenged us, or who just made learning fun. Now is your chance to say thank you in a big way with iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher, powered by Donors Choose. Nominate an outstanding public school teacher who's gone above and beyond for their students to win $5,000 to stock their classroom with whatever they need. Help us say thank you to the educators shaping our future. Nominate your favorite teacher today at iHeartRadio.com/teachers. A lot of people say Eminem was their first teacher.
He was. He taught people a lot about how life works.
Mm-hmm. He was great. And Happy Gilmore too.
Yeah, I know. I like the. Yeah, well,
I wish he would have been in it more.
Yeah, well, he did act in like one of the great movies of all time at 8 Mile.
8 Mile is one of my favorites, man.
B Rabbit?
There was a unfortunate period of time in high school, like all the way back when I still had hair, where I had that entire rap battle sequence memorized.
Oh, yeah.
His real name is Clarence.
Well, did you do the Joe Burrow where you dye your hair like the OG Slim Shady?
And Clarence's parents
have a real good marriage.
That's what it was. Yeah, I had that whole thing memorized.
Real quick
before
we get to the Padres, just a little side note. They talk about how Anthony Mackie, Eminem was like this like shy guy, and he walks up to him. He's like, "Hey, do you mind if I do some research on you so I can kind of get this?" He's like, "Those disses, the rap battles, are really just him. It's his backstory. They just put his character's name in it."
Dude, that's hilarious. But the whole time watching that movie, I was like, "Where is this actually happening? Like, is this actually going down in Detroit? Are there just rap battles that break out with like the greatest rappers you've ever heard just roasting the hell out of each other back and forth for 30 minutes at a time? Like, is this actually happening?"
I'm sure. Well, yeah, definitely.
Because like you watch Rocky and you're like, okay, there probably is some boxer out in Philly who's running up these stairs.
That's how LL Cool J came up.
Like, see, I just don't know enough about that world.
Yeah, no, that definitely happens.
I want to go to one of those rap battles. I would like to see it.
Let us know. 70470. Start your message with team.
Who is the next Slim Shady? Please stand up. All right. Padres, look, last night was impressive as hell. I'll be the first to say that was the most fun I've had watching a Padres game in a while. Like, since when was Fernando's walk-off? That was way early on in the season.
That was against the Angels. What was that, May?
Yeah, probably. But that was the most fun I've had watching a Padres game, like actually intrigued in every single pitch that was coming up, kind of living and dying on it since then, if I'm being completely honest. And it was because it was exciting. As soon as the Padres got down yesterday, they were fighting right back. Xander Bogaerts was playing with passion. Like, we're seeing a different side of this Padres team than the team that has been sleepwalking for a while. Now, I would caution all of us, myself included, Sammy included, because we got really excited in the first segment, as we should. That was a really fun game last night with an exciting ending. Elias Diaz being the hero in a weird ninth inning. It's all for nothing if you... What's the right phrase here, Sammy? Because I can't say the one I want
crap
to.
Crap the bed the next 2 nights.
It's all for nothing if you crap the bed the next 2 nights. And leading up into the trade deadline, like, the momentum needs to be there, because you might be saying goodbye to some of the guys on this Padres team, and you might be welcoming in, I don't know, Marcell Ozuna is the name that's popping up once again today. So you need that positive momentum going in, and you're playing against a team that is going to be your playoff competition in the Mets. So everything that happened last night was great. That was an emotional night. The crowd was incredible at Petco Park once again, like it has been all year. But if you go out tonight and tomorrow night and you lay a couple stinkers and the Mets dominate you over the next couple of days, that was just a huge waste of time.
100%. I totally agree with you, because it is so weird with baseball. It's not like the NFL where it's 1 week at a time, where a win, it's a 1/16th, 1/17th of your season. Yes. I think that why people are excited and why we're excited, rightfully so, about last night is, look at the record coming into last night was 22-34 against teams above 500. Now, those stats can be a little skewed because there's teams that you may have beat on the cut line that then you drop below 500. So it's kind of it changes all the time. But the Mets are a legit ball club, and they got big time hitters. We know it: Soto, Alonso, Lindor, hell, Vientos. We saw it last night. I mean, that's a really talented lineup. That's probably going to be hell for anyone in the NL. So, what I'm curious over the next 2 days, you have Ryan Berger, who going up against Sean Manaea tonight. The Mets are favorite actually on the money line, so Vegas tells you they trust Manaea a little bit more. But I do think Berger has quietly been pretty nice this year when he has pitched. It's very telling how Yu Darvish is going to be going tomorrow. He's going to be going in the early game, 110. There was a lot. Coach Quintera came on our show and was talking about every Thursday at 1:30, talking about how the way his stuff, he said, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets shut down. He goes, I didn't think he had it. He's like, he looks injured. He looks hurt. His velocity was down. It's convenient. It's good for the Padres that the day before the trade deadline, he's pitching. So we're going to see if last week was kind of maybe him kind of getting his sea legs back under him, or if this is it's a legit problem. They need to shut him back down, or then you're going to need to go get a pitcher. Ozuna being thrown around. It's nice seeing the bats come alive last night. It was a really team-oriented win. And it was nice that, not nice, but the fact that the bullpen didn't just come shut it down. The offense had to go win the game.
Yeah.
Like Suarez gave up the home run. It wasn't just the four horsemen being excellent, which I think you can count on most nights, but what they were able to do with the offense finally waking up and showing some of that, the juice that we know they have. But I'm with you on that. If they lay an egg the next 2 nights, it's all the steam gets taken out.
Yeah, it just feels like such a waste. Now, we've thrown around Marcell Ozuna's name a couple times here. So with a little, this is from Buster Olney. He covers baseball for ESPN, says with a little more than 48 hours to go before the deadline, there is movement developing around Marcell Ozuna who has the power to reject any trade proposal. At least one team has been having internal conversations about trying to work out a deal for the slugger. Buster Olney also says it'll be interesting to see if the Padres emerge as the possible landing spot for Ozuna. San Diego has some of baseball's worst DH production this year, which makes sense if you've been watching recently.
Ozuna would be a big ad at the back.
He at least a powerful ad, right? And presumably the prospect strap Padres wouldn't actually have to give up that much to get Ozuna. That's the important part for me. It's who is leaving to make sure you get Ozuna is the curious part. We'll see. Maybe it is some sort of package involving Cease going elsewhere and then prospects coming back and some of those prospects going for Ozuna. We'll find out a lot here in the next couple of days. And Sammy, you mentioned something very important. Coach Quintera, every Thursday, 1:30 on this program, we'll be reacting to the trade deadline with Coach Quintera coming up this Thursday.
It's going to be 1:30 and the deadline's at 3, I believe. So we're going to have a little lead up. Maybe something will break right during it.
Is there anything that's maybe it'll all be done? Baseball, a couple years ago, it went past the trade deadline because all the paperwork was still getting figured out. We had news coming out to like 5 o'clock.
Yeah,
we'll see about this.
Because the Scott and Adam deal came in minutes before,
right?
Like literally minutes before. I'm excited because Ozuna does.
Preller don't put that phone down.
Yes, and I think why Ozuna, what you kind of mentioned about him being affordable, he's older. He's 34, I believe. Luis Robert Jr. is the guy that kind of, if you took the stats, you have a guy with a lot of talent and haven't been hitting super well. I believe Ozuna's hitting like 210, something like that. Luis Robert Jr. is hanging in that area. Every team wants Luis Robert. I saw the Dodgers in on him. The Yankees are in on him. Basically, every team that is relevant is in on them because he's a young player that could really develop. Ozuna's older, but with this team that if the Padres are really trying to go in all for this year, Ozuna would be a big ad where they could get him more affordable than some other guys.
All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. We do have some tickets to give away today. We'll do so coming up in just a little bit. But if you want a pair of tickets to go see Blues Traveler plus the Gin Blossoms with special guest Spin Doctors at Gallagher Square at Petco Park on Saturday, August 16th, you're just going to have to keep on listening for your shot to win. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com. Sammy, can you smell it? Because Thursday, football is back on our TVs. Also on Thursday, a San Diego legend is going to be honored at that game. Let's talk about it coming up next. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This war is sponsored by Sid's Carpet Barn. Padres back tonight against the Mets after winning 7-6 on Elias Diaz walk-off hit. The game will be at 6:40. The Mets are currently minus 130 on the money line. Sean Manai will be going for New York, while Ryan Berger will be going for the Padres. And Jimmy Haslam, the owner of the Cleveland Browns, made it clear today that he was not the guy who gave the okay to draft Shedeur Sanders after many thought he was. With Kohl's Fine Flooring closing, Sid's Carpet Barn is San Diego's undisputed flooring leader, carrying a huge selection of high-end flooring and durable, economical flooring, too, at all the lowest prices in town. Visit sidscarpetbarn.com.
San Diego Sports 760 on a Tuesday. Ben Fletcher and Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. John and Jim will take over then. Hey, coming up this Thursday, it is the Hall of Fame game. So the NFL, at least something that looks a little bit like the NFL, is back on our TVs. Sammy is going to be betting on this game because he's a total degenerate. Are you ready for that? Do you have what you're going to bet on?
No, I was actually looking at it earlier. CJ, our wonderful imaging guy, I've known him forever since I lived in Palm Springs. He said he would call my father if that's his direct words. I would call your father if I bet on the Hall of Fame game.
I think you should still do it. I don't think it's that big of a problem. It's like football's back. It's the first time.
It's like what else am I going to bet on?
Yeah, Canadian Football League? I don't think so.
No.
But pretty cool that this Thursday it's going to be two San Diego legends who are going to be honored because it is the Hall of Fame game. Antonio Gates, obviously his career with the San Diego Chargers, and then those last couple of years where he was playing somewhere else. But Antonio Gates, one of the greatest athletes in this town's history, obviously college basketball players switching over to football. How many different times have we heard the call of Rivers looking to the end zone for Gates, touchdown, Antonio Gates? It happened a million times throughout their career together. He is going to be enshrined into the Hall of Fame, I believe, on Saturday. I think it's on the 2nd that they actually go into the Hall of Fame. But this Thursday, he will be honored. And then Eric Allen, Point Loma High School alumni, played a bunch of his career with Philly, finished up with Oakland. I think he was on the Saints for a little bit as well. Eric Allen also going into the Hall of Fame this year. Pretty cool that there's two of them with San Diego ties who are going to be heading into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, and the Chargers playing on Thursday night. Lots of Charger fans still here in San Diego. Lots of not Charger fans here as well. But that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see. I mean, obviously both of those two super well-deserved. Yeah, Antonio Gates, he's a guy that, like, he gets a lot of credit nationally, but I think when you talk about greatest tight ends of all time and like the national conversation, a lot of people go,
he's in it.
He certainly should be in it, and he is in it. But I think people go Gronk, which is fair, Shannon Sharp. People throw Tony G in there. Travis Kelce has certainly elevated to that. But Antonio Gates was the guy that, I mean, he did it. He couldn't even run at the end of his career, and he was still catching touchdowns. I mean,
he had the terrible plantar fasciitis.
Yeah, and remember,
he throughout a lot of his career,
he still had like 8 or 9 touchdowns in his final season.
Yeah.
I mean, Rivers to him was a magical combo, and obviously sucks we don't get to see it anymore in SD. But I'm excited for football back on Thursday.
Antonio Gates was also one of the first guys who you could tell is a basketball player playing football. Like, he was literally boxing dudes out in the end zone.
That's a good point. Like, guys didn't do that before Antonio Gates.
He was just rebounding. That's all he was doing in the back of the end zone a lot of the time, or making sure dudes were like 2 yards off of him by the time the ball was coming. Antonio Gates was just a master of positioning, and he had to learn everything at the NFL level, which is damn near impossible to do. And it was 15 years of him and Phillip Rivers throwing and catching touchdowns. An incredible career for Gatesy. And I'm excited to see what he has to say on both Thursday when he's honored at the Hall of Fame game, and then on Saturday, or the 2nd. I don't know if that's Saturday or Sunday, when he's actually enshrined into the Hall of Fame. Should be a good one to see. By the way, hate giving him credit. Chargers have another social media video up today honoring Antonio Gates. Absolute home run. Really, really well done. There's some lines from Phillip Rivers in it. There's a bunch of old touchdowns from him. Tons of stuff at Qualcomm. It is really, really well done by the Chargers. And it'll get you choked up a little bit, especially if you used to be or still are a fan of that team. All right, in the NFL right now, Sammy, you brought up something interesting off the air about which holdout in training camp right now is the most impactful for the team. So let's run through a couple of them. Micah Parsons, technically holding in.
Yeah, he's holding in, but yes, I could see him holding out if he doesn't get a deal.
Terry McLaurin, definitely a holdout. Who else we got? There's just
McLaurin reported back to camp, but he still is a hold in.
James Cook is practicing, but kind of holding in at the same time.
At the same time, he wants a new deal, and Trey Hendrickson is the other one that is not there. So out of those four, what hurts him the most if they're not there? Feel free to text us 70470. Start your message with team.
I mean, I would say Trey Hendrickson simply because he's the best player on that list. Debatable with Micah Parsons, but Trey Hendrickson probably the best player on that list. But Cincinnati's defense is so bad. I don't know how bad of a problem that is for the Cincinnati Bengals. For me, it really is Terry McLaurin. And it has nothing to do with Terry McLaurin or the skill that he has. It has everything to do with Jaden Daniels, who is primed for a second-year letdown in this league. He is being universally praised right now. He's being talked about as a legitimate fifth person in the top 5 list of the NFL quarterbacks right now, which is crazy for a second-year quarterback to be elevated that quickly. Taking away his top target on an offense is a terrible, terrible, terrible idea. Unfortunately, you're going to have to overpay Terry McLaurin, and I think that's where the Commanders are heading. I think they are going to overpay him a little bit. And it's not to say he's not a great wide receiver. He is. But if he's asking for number 1 wide receiver money, like the highest paid wide receiver in football, that's probably overpaying him just a little bit. Terry McLaurin is by far the most significant for me.
858 says, Bills fan here, pay Cook. I think this one doesn't get talked about enough because Trey Hendrickson obviously is the guy. The defense is horrible to begin with. They were on a pace to be one of the worst defenses for the Bengals in league history before they kind of got it together in the second half of the season. And that's with the leading sack rusher. So, and he's not going to be there as of right now unless they pay him. Apparently he wants more guaranteed money. They're not really offering a lot. The Bengals,
I have a feeling that's going to be weeks into the regular season when they're giving up 45 points a game. They're like, oh my God, we need something.
The Bengals, you pointed this out about how we could be a couple years away from Joe Burrow being like, get me out of this thing. I think it's delayed because they paid T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, his buddies, and he's going to have an electrifying offense.
But they just extended his contract like last offseason, right?
We're 2-3 years away if they don't fix his defense from there being a problem there. I agree with 858 on the pay James Cook in terms of not that I think the Bills are going to be bad if they don't have James Cook, but we know Josh Allen's habits. He wants to run. He's an exceptional runner, and he's not like Lamar. Everyone always kind of points to Lamar's the guy that's going to get injured, and maybe he will. But if you watch Lamar Jackson play, he gets out of bounds all the time. He's constantly always kind of evading tacklers and getting out and sliding down. I mean, Josh Allen, he runs into players. He initiates contact going forward, and you worry about that shoulder a little bit. James Cook has elevated the Bills since they've had a running game. The first 2 times they played the Chiefs in playoffs, they had no running game, and it was on Josh Allen to be Superman. And I mean, the last 2 times it worked out the same way.
Sammy loves talking smack about the Chiefs. The Bills, excuse me.
No, I agree with this listener. I mean, James Cook is extreme. I would put James Cook in a conversation for top 5 running back in the league.
Look, James Cook has certainly earned it and is very important, but they do have other running backs. Like Ray Davis was a rookie last year.
But do we think Ray Davis is a every down back?
But he was wildly impressive a year ago. I'm saying you could take that because Josh Allen is entering into the prime of his NFL career, not entering into year 2. James Cook is ridiculously important to the Buffalo Bills offense, and they run to set up everything. In fact, Josh Allen's numbers were down a year ago because they were having so much success running the football. He is wildly important and is one of the best running through contact running backs that we have in the NFL, period. Not even have to talk about the top 5. He might be number 1. So James Cook is wildly important, but when you go through the names on that list, Trey Hendrickson is someone who could legitimately win Defensive Player of the Year. Terry McLaurin is legitimately in the conversation if he goes for 1,800 yards this year with Jaden Daniels for Offensive Player of the Year. So you have guys there who are probably a little bit above where James Cook is right now, who is a guy on a really good offense.
Well, the Micah Trey conversation is interesting because they're both playing into each other. They're a little bit different. Trey Hendrickson is on the line. He is not a linebacker. He rushes the passer as an end.
But you bring up the Cowboys and it's just an automatic eye roll for 75% of the country.
I mean, Micah is an exceptional player. He's one of the best pass rushers, if not the best pass rusher in the entire NFL. He can drop into coverage. The crazy thing was at Penn State, the reason he went 11 overall was he was like a outside linebacker that would only rush on blitz packages. He wasn't, and then they put him on the line because the Cowboys figured out that like he's too good of a rusher to just be dropping him in coverage.
Yeah, we talk about Travis Hunter playing 2 positions. Micah Parsons plays like 4.
Exactly. And the mismanagement between the Bengals and the Cowboys of not paying their guys. Last year, they said Micah Parsons was eligible for an extension. He wanted an extension. That deal was going to come in around $35 to $36 million per year. Now, the conversation is starting for Micah Parsons at $43 million per year, possibly up to 45. So they cost themselves about $8 to maybe $10 million annually because they wanted to wait a year. But they paid a guy, Dak Prescott, who was coming off an injury, who has only won 2 playoff games in his entire career. And I'm not trying to just dog Dak out, but it's insane to me that CeeDee Lamb deserved to get paid, but the Cowboys' handling of contract situations are abysmal. And you didn't fix the run defense. The run defense was the worst in the NFL last year for the Cowboys. If you don't have Micah Parsons, I don't know what's going to happen to this team. It's interesting how many holdouts there have been so far in the camp. Usually there's only one or two, but we could see some teams missing some big pieces early on in the year.
You could make the argument that 4 weeks ago when we were talking this much about the NFL was probably a little too early. But right now we are 36 days, 11 hours, 19 minutes, and 1 second away from the start of the NFL season. We're here. There's football being played Thursday night. Not names that you recognize, but football will be played on Thursday night. Maybe they throw Quentin Johnson out there for a couple of snaps and talk about, dude, Q is legit. Come on, Chargers.
Seriously, we talked about this yesterday, but the Quentin Johnson hype train from the Chargers social media PR team,
it's outrageous.
They should get a raise for trying to cut some of those highlights to make it look like he's actually a successful wide receiver.
It's very, very Washington, D.C. Like, look how great this thing is. Meanwhile, all right, we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we are going to be giving away those tickets. That's coming up on the other side right after Long Shots. We are giving Sammy this entire commercial break to come up with a daily fantasy sports lineup that's going to knock your socks off. That's coming up next. If you're just joining us for the first time, my name is Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. We pride ourselves on talking lots of NFL, lots of Padres, and we try to bring on the legends of San Diego as often as possible. Steve Hartman joining us every single Friday at 1:30. Coach Quintera joining us every single Thursday at 1:30. Today at 1:30, Kevin Acee, who in my mind is a San Diego legend. That's a little polarizing, but I love Kevin. Kevin's my boy.
Do you think Kevin's connection is going to work out today, unlike last week?
Maybe. We'll see. Kevin and phone problems has been a story as old as time. It's been happening ever since I've known Kevin. But I think he's going to have a lot of interesting thoughts on Antonio Gates because Kevin covered him for a large part of his career. I think Kevin's going to have a lot of interesting thoughts on the future of baseball as we're heading for a lockout. I think Kevin's going to have a lot of interesting thoughts on what's going down Thursday, which is the Major League Baseball trade deadline, in which the Padres are involved in every conversation.
I'm curious what he says about Dylan Cease. I'm really curious because he's an insider in the organization. I didn't think he was as bad as maybe people are going to kill him after last night with the grand slam, but I'm curious what he thinks on that.
Kevin's article is similar to what you said. He wasn't bad, Dylan Cease, last night. He threw a really bad pitch or a couple of them, but at times he looked unhittable. And so, we'll talk to Kevin about it. Jeff Passan's number was at 25% a couple days ago on whether or not Dylan Cease would be traded. I wonder if that number's ticked up since a couple days ago.
And I don't want to be this guy. I hate when people are like, "Oh, if the ump had given this call, they would have had a strikeout." He did have that nasty sinker pitch that went 89 miles per hour that dropped it above the zone. That probably should have been a strike. And who knows, maybe it changes the way the count goes. But Dylan Cease, I think the easy take is to bash him, but I think he has a lot of value for whatever team he's going to be playing on for the rest of the season.
Maybe the Padres. I think the Yu Darvish thing has a lot of Dylan Cease questions up in the air. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Long Shots is coming up next. Sammy Long's going to make us all some money live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, we've been very, very sports heavy to start the show today, which is probably a good thing. Like, I feel like Sammy and I've stayed on track very, very well today. Through all that, we have completely ignored the fact that Sammy Long got a new haircut. What's up, dude? You trying to update that Tinder profile or what?
Yes, sir. We're going to Vegas in a few weeks.
Oh yeah, we are.
And wanted it to because when you get a new haircut, it's a little too short. But
Yeah, I know all about that.
Yeah. Show off that shine, baby. But so in a couple weeks, it'll be really popping. So I need it a little bit longer in the back, but you
should have just gone full mullet. I don't know what you're doing.
We already had this discussion.
If you want to bring the positive attention your way, you go mullet.
You think on Tinder, the mullet's really going to make you have success?
Business in the front, party in the back. Sammy, you are wasting your God-given ability to grow out hair by not getting a mullet.
So then when you're taking pictures for a dating profile, do you just take a picture from the back or for the front? Because then you're going to show up, they're going to be like, what the hell?
Side profile.
So,
boom. You didn't even think of that one, did you? All the baseball players are doing it. Jackson Merrill's got a little mini mullet going. Or he did for a while.
Jay Mayer?
Yeah.
He also has $125 million.
He's also dating a beautiful, beautiful woman. So I don't know. Sammy, currently the prospects aren't looking great for you, but we'll get you there. Maybe in Vegas, I can wingman you.
How do you know the prospects aren't looking great? What are you talking about?
You want me to wingman you in Vegas? I'm pretty good at it.
You're a good wingman in Vegas.
Yeah.
She might not be pretty. We'll see that in action.
She might not be pretty, but you'll get her number. Well, last time you came home from Vegas with no new numbers. This time I can get you at least one. Then you only need like 6 more for a complete phone number.
6 more for a complete?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean 1 digit?
I'll
That's
get you like
saying?
a digit. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
you'll get like a fraction of an area code.
We'll be better off on our own than I don't think Kendall's gonna approve. I appreciate the sentiment there.
She's fine with me wingmanning. I'm happy to do it, really. It'd be a weight off my chest. Get you your future Mrs. Long. Maybe she'd have some better picks at long shots. It's been a dry spell, Sammy. We need something. We need a bit of a slump buster here, so let's get to it. It's time for long shots every single day. Sammy Long builds us out a daily fantasy sports lineup. Sometimes that goes really well. The month of May, very, very well. So far in July, it's been a little bit of a dry spell, but let's see if we can fix that because he has been the king of almost lately. How about the king of doing it today? Sammy Long, smash that button.
Let's see. Underdogs? Nah, that's old. Those with a less than good chance of winning? Too wordy. Wait, he's all big time now, huh? It's time for Sammy's Long Shots. Hold on. Can't talk until I say the important stuff. Long Shots is presented by Circa Million and Circa Survivor. Now, go.
If you want to text the show, you can. 70470. Start your message with team. You think I should be Sammy's wingman out in Vegas? I don't know. I don't really do the club scene.
You got other boys coming, right?
I do have a couple friends who are going to be in Vegas when we're there.
Are they single?
One of them is. One of them is married.
Perfect. We're going out.
Dude, you and Brian hitting the town? That's going to be a problem.
That's going to be a fun. Well, okay, we're going to get to long shots because all these beautiful people are wanting picks.
Yeah.
But you've already set the precedent that you're going to bed early on night one, which is very disgusting and despicable and honestly a disgrace to the name of Las Vegas. That's not a town you go to bed early.
It's also Vegas. I'm going to say that I'm going to go to sleep early and early is going to end up being like 3 a.m. So we'll see.
Brian, dude. I'm excited to meet Brian.
Dude, he's nickname's Fish. Take that however you want it.
The Fish.
He's the Fish.
How do you... Okay, we'll get into that off air. Okay, Seth Lugo, KC, Atlanta playing today at 4:45 pitches strikeouts. We're going more than. Seth Lugo just signed a massive deal. Big 2-year contract extension. Guess what you don't want to do after you sign a massive deal with your contract extension? Play like dog water the next time out, okay? His wife was posting a whole beautiful thing on X about how Kansas City, they're here. This is their town.
What she's really doing is saying, oh my God, I'm rich. Woo!
You're going to get us canceled. No. More than 5 pitches strikeouts for Seth Lugo. Quietly, he's really resurrected his career. A veteran of the game. A few years ago, didn't know if he was going to still be kind of pitching and really kind of found something with the Royals over there. More than 5 pitches strikeouts. I also think this is going to be a lot low-scoring game tonight. It was 10-7 Braves last night. We had the under on Spencer Strider strikeouts. The Royals have been hitting very well, but I think it calms down a little bit tonight, and both teams have more success on the mound.
And you could thank AJ Preller for that one. Seth Lugo was kind of lost, and then he comes to the Padres, has an amazing season. Boom, goes and gets rich with the Royals. Good for him.
Yeah. Okay, so then Sandy Alcantara. He apparently, as of a few hours ago, is like the hottest name in trade discussions. So the Marlins are all over it. probably dealing him. He's really valuable too, because even though he had a 7+ ERA hitting in that Padres start where he actually performed really well, I think he only gave up 2 earned runs in that game. He has multiple years of control, and apparently teams are much higher on him than maybe the public is. Maybe if you're a Miami Marlins fan, you're frustrated with the earned runs given. His velocity has gone back up. So there's a lot of tools there that the Yankees are in on him for, the Dodgers are in on him, the Mets, all the top teams are looking for him. Maybe the Padres have been possibly mentioned, but that seems weird because you probably have to deal cease to get him. It would be a whole thing. But maybe the Padres. Sandy Alcantara, 4 pitcher strikeouts. I'm debating. I'm going back and forth on this.
Yeah, this is tricky. This would usually be a stay away for me because the Marlins also just traded their catcher, right?
Yes,
just earlier today.
I'm going to go less, and I'm going to tell you why. Text line, feel free to jump in here, 70470. Start your message with team. Tell me if you like this reasoning or not. I think the fact that he's going to be on ice and he is going to get dealt, Miami has no reason to keep him. I know they've been playing better ball recently, but they're still pretty far out of the NL wildcard spot. That would take, they would have to be on an absolute tear down the stretch. I bet they're going to let him show off some velocity tonight, go a few innings, pull him. There's a reason why Vegas has this number at 4 pitcher strikeouts. This should be higher. If this wasn't involved in all trade discussions, I bet this would be like 5.5, 6, something like that. I think Vegas is telling you he might get pulled early in this game tonight. So we're going less than 4 pitcher strikeouts for Sandy Alcantara. All right. And then we're going to go. So I have 2 more picks. This is a Red Demon, though. Should we stay away from Red Demon?
Nah, bring it on.
Okay. Ketel Marte for the Arizona Diamondbacks, more than 3.5 total bases, Red Demon. Eugenio Suarez and Lourdes Gurriel are out of the lineup tonight for the Diamondbacks. They're going to get traded. Eugenio Suarez has been the number 1 name on the trade block. Literally every team is on who needs a third baseman. He's a fantastic hitter, 34 years old. Gurriel has a lot of talent as well. They are out of the lineup because they are going to get dealt in the next day. And also Eugenio Suarez had a little scare for Arizona out there. He got hit on his hand with a pitch last night in the 9th inning, which could mess up some trade value. If you're a Diamondbacks fan, that would not be great for you. But what that means is that the other players are going to step up. Alec Thomas, Ketel Marte, Corbin Carroll. There's still actually a lot of bats in this lineup. I think we're going to see a big performance against Detroit. I know they have a good pitching staff, but 3.5 total bases, more than Red Demon for Ketel Marte.
Can I pump the brakes on that one a little bit?
I thought you just said Red Demon.
I was in for it, but 3.5 is a ton, dude. That means he's hitting 4 singles or a double, 2 doubles, 1 home run. Like, that's a lot.
I have another pick. Do you want me to take it away?
I'm doing it.
Do you want me to take it away? I have another pick if you want it.
Our boy Tyler just said #Faith in Sammy. So Faith in Sammy. We're going with it.
Tyler might take my job.
Tyler, all right, what's that last one? We got to go quick.
No, we'll keep it at 3.
Okay, 3-person. I'm in. $20. Sounds great to me. We got Ketel Marte, more than 3.5 bases. Seth Lugo, more than 5 pitcher strikeouts. Sandy Alcantara, more than 4 pitchers or less than 4 pitcher strikeouts. Excuse me. I'm good with it. That's gonna pay a lot if that hits, Sammy.
I'm telling you, trust Ketel Marte tonight.
All right, hour number 2 coming up next. Kevin Acee is going to be joining. We'll talk about all the Padres trade deadline news. Right now is your chance to get a pair of tickets to go see Blues Traveler, Gin Blossoms with special guest Spin Doctors at Gallagher Square at Petco Park Saturday, August 16th. Tickets and information at Ticketmaster.com. Caller number 7 right now. You're going to the show for free. 877-767-4760. The latest on the trade deadline. The latest with the Padres coming up next at San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This sport is sponsored by Payday. Padres back in action tonight at 6:40 against the Mets. Same time, same place. Mets are currently favored by -130 on the money line. Sean Manaea will be going for the Mets, who brings in a record of 1-1 with a 2.19 ERA, and Ryan Berger will be going for the Pods, who's currently 1-0 with a 2.84 ERA. The run total's been set at 8.5. Hardworking people need a hardworking candy bar packed with peanuts and filled with golden caramel. Payday is definitely working hard for you, so grab one now to power you through the day. Payday Peanut Caramel Bar. Get to it.
Welcome to the Fletch Zone.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
Well, don't keep us in suspense any longer. Show us what you got.
No fluff, just facts.
I told you it had nothing to do with
You
the
did
surgery.
say this. He kissed a teammate on the forehead, and it made the teammate uncomfortable. And Raiders players were offended by this.
Man, the NFL has gone soft.
Weak.
Because if you heard what Rich used to do when new rookies would come into the locker room, he would upside down naked twerk in the shower.
I'm Jimmy Johnson.
As they're walking around the corner, so that the first thing they saw was just all of Little Rich hanging out there.
That is some serious confidence.
So a kiss on the head? Have we just gone completely soft?
What's up, kids, sissy kids?
Now it's time to enter the Fletch Zone.
You know, listening to that one back, it does sound a little weird. Yeah, but Christian Wilkins no longer a Las Vegas Raider. Rest of his contract voided because apparently he's going around kissing people on the head.
Yeah, we should give some context for that open.
Yeah, so if you missed it, the Las Vegas Raiders, they have a player named Christian Wilkins, still had a bunch of money left on his contract. He was a Clemson guy, right? In his college days, won a national
Christian
championship.
Wilkins, I believe so, yeah.
I believe it was Clemson, yeah, because he had the moment where he did the splits right in front of the national championship trophy. I believe that was the Trevor Lawrence national championship. I could be wrong on
Shout
that
out
one.
to CJ. Dude, just the best opens.
But Wilkins, who is a really talented NFL player, still had some $30 million left guaranteed on his contract, and that got voided because the Raiders initially said he had the Jones fracture in his foot that he didn't get replaced or repaired correctly. They wanted him to get another surgery, so they voided the contract. 2 days later, it comes out the no. Christian Wilkins kissed one of his teammates on the head, and that person got uncomfortable, so it became an HR issue. I did bring this up with Rich Orenberger today, and I asked him the question, did you ever have a dispute in an NFL locker room handled by HR? And he said, absolutely not.
You think Bill Belichick allowed HR?
Maybe not, but think about where Rich went to college. Like there were some HR issues there as well. And then he gets into the pros. Bill Belichick had scandals all over the place. Never anything handled by HR. And then you go to the Chargers. Lots of issues there. And he just said, yeah, you know, it was more just the story he told was actually the upside down twerking one, and then followed up by he used to do hurdles in the locker room, also completely naked.
Rich was a nice welcoming to the rookies. It used to be, hey, taking you out in the town, all this kind of stuff, making you pay. Now it's what do? They do the Russian roulette where you have to pay, credit card roulette where you have to pay, the rookies have to pay like, what is it, like $50,000 something insane like
and
that.
Even for the majority of the time, I feel like that's always fake anyways. Like the rookie or the senior guy on the team will come in and make sure that the bill's already taken care of, but they just want to see the rookies sweat a little bit. So I don't know. It does feel like that's the funniest, weirdest story that's going on in the NFL right now. I honestly think the Raiders just didn't like Christian Wilkins. I think Pete Carroll didn't like Christian Wilkins and didn't like the amount of money they were paying to him and tried to do anything he could to avoid that contract. But we'll see where that story goes. NFL season just like 30-something days away. Going to be exciting once we finally get there. Padres, on the other hand, have 2 more games against the Mets. 2 big games, if you ask me. Mets are another team in the National League that are vying for the similar spots the Padres are vying for. And this is very likely going to be a preview over the next couple of days of a team you're going to see in the postseason playing against the Padres. Feels like they always end up playing against the Mets. So it's big. And last night was a lot of fun. The walk-off win, the heroics from Fernando Tatis Jr. out in right field, bringing that ball back. One of the web gems of the season so far in Major League Baseball. All of that is awesome. All of that is very exciting. But without being competitive the next couple of days, making sure you win one of these next 2 games, it kind of feels like it's all for nothing.
Well, yeah, and especially with an ownership that like AJ Preller's buying. We've established there's no reason for AJ Preller to sell because he hasn't locked up a long-term extension with the team. Now, you never owners would never let a GM or a head coach go into the final season of let their deal run out. if we're going to know if AJ Preller is going to be here past 2026 in the offseason, if they extend him and give him a brand new contract, or if they let it go through, it's probably done for AJ Preller. He has every reason to buy, but ownership we know is stingy, and this is the first trade deadline that we've seen with the new ownership with this, especially with the fighting amongst them. We know they weren't big spenders in free agency. We talked about this earlier. Nick Pivetta was really a workaround. Thank God AJ Preller did it, adding 4 years, $55 million, backloading the money so that they were able to kind of convince him to come. And I mean, if Gavin Sheets hadn't come on a minimum deal, on a deal that you looked at, it was like if he didn't have value to other teams. So a lot going on here. There's a lot of names been thrown around. We kind of keep hearing that the through line seems to be the buy sell option, where you're selling off maybe a Dylan Cease, you're selling off maybe a Jay Cronenworth to get some people back, because looking into the minors, there's not too many people that you look at and go,
you're buying by way of selling.
Right, you're buying. So
you're selling off Dylan Cease, getting some prospects back, maybe flipping some of those prospects for another piece like a Marcelo Zuna.
If you could add one position to the team right now, what would it be?
Feels like DH is pretty important to me. Padres among the league's lowest.
Even over catcher. I know Diaz had the hit last night.
Yeah, it just feels like, and we've talked to Coach Kinsera about this a couple times, there's not really catchers out there who you would want to add to the team. So are you really going to dig into your prospects a little bit to try to get a catcher who maybe is not even going to help you out that much? The Padres have been abysmal at catcher. Don't get me wrong. They've been really bad at it, maybe outside of like last night. But who are you going to get that's going to come in and really make that big of a difference? And I know the Marlins just traded one of the hot catchers on the trade block. As of today, he went to the Rays, right? Do I have that right?
Yeah.
So who's actually out there that you're going to be able to get and make a huge difference? I don't know, but I feel that way a lot about this trade deadline in general. Like Marcelo Zuna and Sandy Alcantara are the two biggest names that are going to get moved. Are either of them actually having that good of a season? The answer is no. So we'll see what the Padres do, but it's going to be fascinating. I can promise you that. All right, let's get to the big three of hour number 2. Sammy Long's going to take us through the top stories in the world of sports. Kevin Acee coming up at 1:30. Maybe he can shed some clarity on all of this mayhem at the deadline. But right now it's time for the big three. Sammy, smash that button.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The big three.
Where are we going in hour number 2, Sammy?
All right, let's stick with baseball, and then we're going to head to the NFL and college football. All right, so per Buster Olney, just as of a little bit ago, 12:45, I'm going to read the tweet he put out there. There are a number of contenders looking for a frontline starting pitcher, i.e. the Mets, Cubs, Red Sox, with the prices on two of the most prominent starters mentioned, the Twins' Joe Ryan and the Padres' Dylan Cease, remain extremely high in the mind of some evaluators. Would you trade Dylan Cease if a King's ransom came along?
Well, here's the thing. Who is Buster Olney talking to get that information? Is the price for Dylan Cease incredibly high via AJ Preller? Like, is AJ Preller the one putting that out there, or is that coming out from some different GMs around baseball? That's because Dylan Cease is worth whatever someone's going to pay for him. So is Dylan Cease valued extremely high by the Padres and they're looking to get that King's ransom, or are other teams saying, yeah, we're competing to try to get Dylan Cease and we're willing to give up a King's ransom? Very important distinction. So yes, I would trade Dylan Cease tomorrow, today, 5 minutes from now, if it meant you're getting back an absolute haul of prospects, some of which you can flip, some of which you can develop. That seems like a no-brainer to me.
I think I believe this, actually. I understand the hesitation. I get where it's like always leading up to NFL draft night. There's, this guy sucks, or he's going to go in the top 5, and then he falls out of the first round, i.e. Shedeur Sanders. But I understand why Dylan Cease would have a lot of suitors. There's not really frontline, as they mentioned, starting pitching available. And usually there's a couple big aces that get dealt. I mean, Dylan Cease is a known commodity. He's a known name. And he's a guy that has stuff. He just hasn't really put it together. We saw it a lot, like even last night. And again, we kind of got into earlier how we think some of the performance was a little bit overblown. The criticism of it. He's been great for like 3 innings. And it's usually been that like second, third time around, which I know is most starters. You have to be good for the second and third time around. I honestly think if the Padres keep him, there is a thought, and maybe I'm crazy. Text line, let me know, 704-70, start your message with team. Do you start a bullpen piece to open the game to get through the top of the order and then let Dylan Cease go 2nd to 6?
Feels like you're trying to be too cute with it. I get what you're saying.
Because it just feels like the second and third time Cease sees these guys.
Why are you hand-holding Dylan Cease so much? Be better.
It's fair. I think the fact with Dylan Cease, like, he's really the one prospect that you can trade to get stuff back. It really sucks for, going back to what we were talking about earlier, for the Padres that they need a catcher. Dalton Rushing's the guy the Dodgers are dangling out there, who's one of the hot young catchers in baseball. There's no way they're trading him to the Padres. The Diamondbacks are selling everyone off. Eugenio Suarez and Lourdes Gurriel. Not that they're trying to get them, but Kelly and Zach Gallen, they're not being traded to the Padres. So it does kind of suck for the Padres that the NL West is so talented where it might block some of those trades. Okay, let's head to the NFL. So interesting comments coming out of the Browns. Jimmy Haslam, who talks about how he is downplaying the fact that Arch Manning was expected to be the number 1 overall pick in next year's draft out of Texas, downplaying the fact that they're looking at him. This is what he said about Shedeur Sanders. We have good process. If you'd have told me Friday night driving home, y'all are going to pick Shedeur Sanders, I would have said that's not happening. But we had a conversation earlier that morning. We had a conversation later that day. I think we had the right people involved in that conversation. At the end of the day, that's Andrew Berry's call. Andrew made the call to pick Shedeur.
Didn't look like it.
Putting it on the GM, Andrew Berry. So a lot was said there. Basically, downplayed the fact that they're looking at Arch Manning next year, and everyone thought the owner called down to pick Shedeur Sanders. He's saying Andrew Berry, the GM, who did not look very happy, by the way, when they made that pick, made the pick and overrode him.
Dude, the Browns are a bit of a mess, and unfortunately, a lot of that leads back to Jimmy Haslam for me. The Arch Madness, as they're calling it now, has officially begun. All the teams who are looking at the top of next year's NFL draft. And look, teams like the Browns are probably going to be incredibly interested in Arch Madness, whether he's great at football or terrible at football, for similar reasons as to why the Browns drafted Shedeur Sanders. Now, the training camp film that's come out on Shedeur Sanders so far is actually really, really positive. It seems like he's doing a good job. Training camp means exactly nothing. But the Arch Manning stuff, how are we already talking about this when you just drafted 2 rookies? And I get Jimmy Haslam's kind of trying to throw some water on this, but this had to start somewhere. And usually with NFL teams, it starts from the very, very top. And I will not buy for a second that Andrew Berry made the call to draft Shedeur Sanders. Because if he would have, that pick would have come in 4 rounds earlier.
This is just example number 676 of the Browns not running an organization properly.
Imagine being a Browns fan. They got a great fan base.
They got a great fan base that shows up every week. That actually is a pretty historic franchise that is historic for sucking. I mean, Shedeur Sanders, you had this report come out yesterday. You're going to trade a quarterback. Kenny Pickett got hurt. Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, Joe Flacco are the options. I don't really know how much trade value Joe Flacco has, considering he's about to be 40 years old. So you'd think it'd be Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders. If you trade Dylan Gabriel ahead of Shedeur Sanders, then it looks like you didn't even trust your scouts, because your scouts told you that Dylan Gabriel was a better player than Shedeur Sanders because you took him above Shedeur Sanders. In regards to Arch Manning, it is odd how, I'm excited to watch Arch Manning play. Everything looks to be like he's the truth. He played in a couple games last year against some terrible competition when Quinn Ewers was hurt for Texas. But it is funny, Arch Manning is being penciled in as the number 1 overall pick, and all these NFL GMs are getting asked about it. This guy has played 2 games his whole career. We've seen big-time 5-star recruit quarterbacks come in college and kind of flame out. I'm not saying Arch is going to do that, but there's a really good quarterback class next year. It is funny how we're kind of hearing this tank for Arch, or this Arch Manning is kind of the next superstar, the next Trevor Lawrence. Then it's Andrew Luck type prospect. It's this guy hasn't even played in college. He's the number 1 team in the country. What's going to justify that? Them winning a national title? Him being exceptional? I don't know.
The name Manning gets you in a lot of places. I hate to take over the big 3, Sammy, but we do have some breaking news, and breaking news that you're not going to like, Sammy. Bronny James, official 2K26 overall rating just dropped, and Bronny James is pissed. He's pissed. He's already taken to social media saying, WTF, ? Exclamation point. Any guess on what his overall rating in 2K26 is?
I bet he's a 72.
Minus 30 something. He's a 46 overall. And he is not happy about it. Not LeBron James, Bronny James.
That's pretty foul, actually.
How is that foul? It feels about right to me.
46 overall is pretty foul.
46 overall in NBA 2K26, and Bronny James is not happy about it.
I mean, by the way, real quickly, we can get this to the next.
What did you say? You said 72?
I thought he'd be a low crazy. 70, high 60. I mean, he did score 17 points in a game last year against the Bucks. I'm not defending Bronny James. I'm just saying 46 is pretty crazy. By the way, though, real quick before we get to break, Madden overalls came out. Do you know who was 99 overall?
Lane Johnson.
Yep. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson.
Was Patty not?
He wasn't.
Oh.
Now, I'm just going to let that sit with everybody because I get labeled as the biased Chiefs fan, but it seems a little odd to me that the guy whose perfect record against those quarterbacks in the playoffs is not a 99 overall, but Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are. Interesting.
This might have been a fake Bronny James at 46 something, but I don't know. The account looked legit.
619 said Arch would Eli the Browns in the draft.
Honestly,
that could happen.
He might. Dude, it's in the family. It wasn't Eli's idea to say, no, I'm not going to the Chargers. I promise you it wasn't Eli's idea.
That's actually 619. That's actually a great point.
If it's going to happen again, it's probably going to be from a guy with the same last name. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. We'll take a quick break. I want to do some legitimacy searching on the Bronny James NBA 2K26 overall. I care so little about the draft things. I knew you were going to bring up the Patrick Mahomes thing today. I was just waiting for it. We can get into a little bit on the other side. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Kevin Acee coming up at 1:30 today. Keep on listening. The iHeartRadio Music Festival is back. Live performances from Ed Sheeran, Mariah Carey, Maroon 5, Sammy Hagar, The Offspring, Tim McGraw, and more. September 19th and 20th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. 2 nights, 1 stage. Buy tickets now at AXS.com. Get them now before they sell out. While the world is listening on iHeartRadio, you could be there. 3 chances every weekday for you to win your trip for 2 plus $1,000 in spending cash. We've got your first chance to win starting next Monday at 6 a.m. All the info at sportssd.com/festival. You can find it all there. Sammy and I are heading out to Vegas here in just a few weeks, couple weeks, right?
We're very excited.
Got our plane tickets. We're flying out.
We're flying out right after the show.
We're going to make a bunch of money.
Let us know if you're coming out. We'd love to kick it with you guys.
Yeah, if you're going to be in Vegas, what are those dates? August 20th?
21st, right?
August 20th through the 22nd? I think that's right.
There's something beautiful about when you just touch down in Vegas and you just relax.
You walk into the airport and you just hear all the ding, 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 dings from the slot
cigarettes,
machines.
broken dreams. And
you just know that you're going to be sniffing cigarette smoke every single second of every single day for the next few days.
There's something romantic about Vegas.
I think so too, man. We're going to have a good time. Not too romantic between the two of us.
Well, I didn't mean it like that, but
it's still going to be a good time. Just sitting in the sports book, maybe going out to the pool at the Circa.
We're definitely going to the pool.
Have you been to the Circa before?
I have not.
God, it is a cool effing place, man. I had a real good night there last time I was at Circa, and the pool is as cool as it looks on social media, man. They were even having Love Island watch parties at that pool.
I did see that. Are we going to be out at the pool, or are we going to be in the little hallway?
It's going to depend on how hot it is, I would say.
I think I don't care how hot it is. Let us be out there at the pool.
You might not care. I think our equipment might care.
We'll call in.
Yeah. It might be tricky. So, yeah, whatever. Keep tuned on that. We're going to be in Vegas pretty soon here out at the Circa. Cannot wait for it. That's going to be a fun little trip. Sammy and I have never spent that much time together. We might end up killing each other. We might end up being best friends at the end of it. I don't really know, but it's going to be a blast either way.
I'm excited to meet your boys.
They're fun guys. I tell you that. Yeah, they just heard. I literally just mentioned that I'm going to be in Vegas for work on these days. And then later that day, they were like, oh, we just booked flights. We're going to be in Vegas too.
That's what I'm talking about.
One of them is married and just bought a house. One of them is single as single gets. And his life is a little bit of a disaster, but he's a really good guy.
Sounds good.
Vegas feels like the right place for something like that. Padres are in an interesting situation here. So as the trade deadline approaches, the Padres are one of those teams where it's been a question for the last few weeks. And Sammy, I honestly don't know where else we could take this. I feel like we've talked about the buyer-sellers things a million times. We've talked about who the Padres could potentially be in on. The Marcell Ozuna thing is still out there as early as today, with Buster Olney linking the Padres to Marcell Ozuna, saying they might be able to get him without giving up too many prospects. Sandy Alcantara, that name was floated around a little bit, but now it seems like he's the belle of the ball and everybody wants him. And some of the heavy hitters who have prospects out the wazoo are in on Sandy Alcantara. Not putting anything past AJ Preller, but what I will say from my years covering the Padres, oftentimes with AJ Preller at the trade deadline, it's not usually something that everyone's talking about that ends up happening. So I would not be surprised whatsoever if there is still a name out there that AJ Preller's in on, that the media doesn't necessarily know that he's in on, that ends up being a San Diego Padre.
The report that came out a month ago about Morejon or Suarez being dealt has completely went to the wayside.
Arise was in the conversations too for a little bit.
And no one's talking about that. Everyone's talking about Dylan Cease. Everyone's talking about Jake Cronenworth. Everyone's kind of talking about other names. So I would not be surprised if one of these big bullpen pieces get moved, which could be disappointing. But I got a question for you. Text line jump in here too, 70470. Start your message with team. Would you be more disappointed if they stand pat and do absolutely nothing, or they sell?
It depends on asking prices, doesn't it? It really does depend on what everybody is saying at the trade deadline. Now, I would imagine there's going to be changes made. I don't know if it's going to be Dylan Cease. That's certainly been the most popular talking point lately, that Dylan Cease is not going to be a Padre come the end of the trade deadline, but it could absolutely be a Jake Cronenworth, Luis Arise. Those contracts make sense to trade, and it sucks to talk about them like that, but they do. It could absolutely be a Suarez or a Morejon, and who knows if that's actually going to end up happening. That's kind of the AJ Preller thing, is we're not going to know until it happens, but those are all names that make sense, that you wouldn't look at and be like, oh my God, I can't believe they traded him, right? And so as the trade deadline gets closer, something is going to happen. Standing pat, I don't even think is an option right now for the San Diego Padres.
I think that's the worst, because if you stand pat, the thing is this: the team has shown you that they're probably not good enough to win a World Series as currently constructed. So if you stand pat, you don't get prospects back. You don't get any of this. Then we're sitting here at the trade deadline next year when you want to make a move, when the team still has a lot of young pieces. You have Jackson Merrill, you have Fernando Tatis, and we're sitting here a year from today, talking about the same exact thing about how they don't have prospects to move unless you want to trade DeVries or Salas or something like that, which it doesn't seem like the organization really wants to do, especially after the fact that they are getting probably cheaper, as the years have gone on here, and with the new ownership, with the lawsuits going back and forth. So I would be really disappointed if they just stood pat. We have a gazillion texts rolling in. Do we have to get to break?
We're going to take a break right now because we got Kevin Acee coming up next, who's a pretty great guy to ask about all this, about the comings and goings of the Padres for the trade deadline this year. We will read all the texts coming up at the very end of the show at 1:45. Kevin Acee is next. You're listening to San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This sport is sponsored by Allstate. Padres met back tonight after Padres took game 1, 7-6 last night. Sean Manaea will be going for the Mets, while Ryan Berger will be going for the Padres. Mets are currently minus 130 on the money line with the run total set at 8.5. That game will go in at 640. And a potential Heisman candidate and first-round pick next year, Florida's quarterback DJ Lagway has a calf strain in boot at start of fall camp. Will be unclear if he will miss week 1. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Kevin Acee on San Diego Sports 760. Brought to you by the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the Players' Place.
San Diego Sports 760. We're going to have Kevin Acee on in just a second. But now that he's posted about it, I feel like it's cool for us to say congratulations to our boy Frankie V. How about that?
Frankie
V, who spent a lot of time filling in on this station. He filled in for me when I was on a little vacation. Frankie V just had his first daughter, little Francesca.
Frankie is the greatest.
Very excited. Or that's not her name. That's the female version of a Frankie name. His daughter's name is Jasmine. Excuse me.
Francesca.
That's her middle name.
Oh, okay.
Jasmine Francesca. So congratulations to the Frankies.
Yes.
To the V's.
Yeah, Frankie.
Very, very cool.
Frankie's a genuine dude, man. Just down to earth, like exactly what you hear on the radio is who he is. Just a good dude. So congrats to all them.
One of my favorite people in this building, but they just welcomed their baby daughter into the world, so that's cool. We welcome our little guy, Kevin Acee, onto the show. Hi, Kevin.
I love your segues, Fletch. Love them.
Aren't they good? They're really, really good today. Kev, what are the Padres doing at the trade deadline? That's what everybody wants to know.
Getting better, theoretically. That's all I know, guys. Look, it's gonna take a deal that they believe. Now, look, there's no guarantee it's trade deadline, but it's gonna take a deal that they believe makes their offense better for them to make a deal. Like, because to get that person to make their offense better, deeper is the real operative word, they're going to have to trade someone like Dylan Cease. So, like, it's going to be big. It's going to be exciting. I don't know who they line up with, in terms of, well, what can they do? Is it a 3-team deal? I don't know who they line up with.
How do you personally think Dylan Cease pitched last night? Do you think he's getting criticized too much?
Look, my philosophy is this. He can't be criticized too much because he makes $13.75 million. Is that a lot for a starting pitcher? No. But it's in his final year of arbitration, before his free agency year. It's pretty much what he was going to make. And it's a lot for the Padres in their current situation. They invested in him to be this guy. This is who they sort of built their rotation around, along with Michael King and to some extent Yu Darvish. So, like, I will say this about Dylan Cease. It's amazing how good he is to be as bad as he is and still, like, survive and strike out 8 guys in 4 2/3 innings. I mean, it's remarkable. And so in that way, you get it. And it's true when people talk about his stuff and it's like, you're just like, what's going on, because he's so close to being that dominant guy. But I mean, look, the results are the results. 22 starts in.
Kev, it's been a little bit of an offensive resurgence here for the San Diego Padres. You have a bunch of little tidbits in your Padres Daily article about Xander Bogaerts being one of the better hitters in all of Major League Baseball recently. Manny Machado's been swinging a hot stick for a while now. But the name that keeps popping up with Buster Olney and with John Heyman is Marcell Ozuna, which would add DH to this team. And that's all that the team is adding, is a designated hitter if it is Marcell Ozuna. Do you think that that's going to happen, or is it going to be the AJ Preller thing where it's a name that we have not heard about all along that ends up joining this roster?
That's kind of what I started to sort of believe. And look, I mean, I'm not Ken Rosenthal, Jeff Passan, the national guys. So the guys that are going to be really, sort of dialed in on this, or at least hear about something right before it happens. But I talk to a lot of people and get information. And that's kind of what I started to think about, like, the kind of player they're going to get. I mean, I've been saying all along, a long time ago, before the national guys started talking about it, us local guys started, we're talking about, all of us, what the Padres need. It's very, very clear. It's been clear since spring training to even the casual observer what they need. Marcell Ozuna, like, my understanding is when that first came out, there was nothing to it. I couldn't get it ruled out that it would ever happen. But I said from the start, like, that would shock me based on past opportunities they've had to add players who've had similar issues as Marcell Ozuna. The Padres have unequivocally not done it. And the Seidler family still owns the team. And AJ Preller's still the, general manager. So, like, it would shock me. But all I can say is that the last time I checked, there was nothing to those talks. I don't know look, for all that we get geeked up for weeks out before the trade deadline and the trickle of deals that get made, we are entering the 48-hour period where deals will get made.
You've been very consistent, Kevin, the whole time that the Padres will be buyers at the deadline. There's been some rumors that possibly the ownership has kind of AJ Preller's hands tied behind his back. Is there anything to that, or do you think that's fake?
I think I've been saying that too. I mean, I don't know that tied behind his back is, that's one way to look at it, but I'm pretty sure that we've been talking for weeks about they're not going to add any money if maybe a little bit when it's all nets out, but this is their situation. They're at over $220 million in commitments. When you talk about what they're going to pay in CBT overages and player bonuses, they're ninth in payroll. Like, I've used this phrase before that I've been told from inside the organization. We've already made our trades, like in terms of, and that was just a metaphorical way to talk about the big names that they've added to this team and that are on this roster. Like, they've invested already. So I don't think that's anything new. Now, you want to say tied behind the back. Okay, I get that. I get that in a vacuum, in a world where money is unlimited, or Steve Cohen owns this team, or some fantasy world, then, oh yeah, they're tying AJ Preller's hands behind his back. But like, he's done, we could debate his legacy and what he's done with this team, but he's done some good things and some bad things to build this roster, and he was given a lot of money to do it over the years. And so it's hard for me to use that phrase tied behind his back.
Yeah, it feels like he spent more than any GM in Padres history. He's spent so much money. Kevin, really, we don't have anything to talk about with the trade deadline because the trade deadline still, those 48 hours are still coming. So it's hard to just speculate, and we can do it for hours. I'm sure we could, but something a little more concrete is December 1st, 2026, the collective bargaining agreement between the players and the owners is going to be coming to an end. And now we have quotes from Bryce Harper saying they wouldn't be afraid to miss a full 162. That would mean the players are going to stand so firm that an entire baseball season won't happen 2 years from now. I don't know if you've talked to any of the Padres players about stuff like this, but is there starting to be a growing sentiment within the clubhouse that, hey, we might be heading for some murky waters, to say the least, here in a couple years?
They're like the rest of us, right? So if you follow politics, right, you're really into it and you know things and all that. And the rest of us suddenly go, oh yeah, like what's happening? And so no, the players aren't consumed by this. Who's Bryce Harper's agent?
Scott Boras.
Okay. Scott Boras is consumed by this, as he should be. Bryce Harper is a great spokesman, as Max Scherzer was back in the day. Who's Max Scherzer's agent?
That'd be Scott Boras, Kevin.
Yeah. So, like, Scott's the most powerful person possibly in baseball. And this is huge to him, and it's huge to a lot of players as well. But I just want to point this out. And look, the background on this is virtually everyone in baseball sort of says offhandedly, oh yeah, 27 season's going to get banked. Like that's really easy to say right now. It doesn't really mean anything, but that's the mood right now. But in 2022, the executive council of players, with like 8 players and 5 of them represented by Scott Boras, suggested that the union reject the league's offer for the CBA, right? What happened? The players voted to accept it and start the 2022 season. There's just, kudos to Bryce Harper, but let's not pretend he speaks for every player. Like, that's a joke.
Yeah, he does hold weight, though,
a lot
Kev.
of players.
I mean, Bryce Harper getting up and telling Manfred to get the F out of our clubhouse, like, that is significant. That Bryce Harper is, and I understand.
Significant, but if let me just pick a guy, and this is not, okay, no, let me just say, player X making $1 million a year with no guarantee he's going to make it next year, and he has 50 years left to provide for his family. Do you think Bryce Harper standing up in that room is going to sway how that guy votes?
For sure.
Hell of a lot more guys like that than Bryce Harper.
So what do you think we're headed for? Look, do you think baseball is headed?
All I'm doing, yes, I do think it's headed for a lockout.
Okay.
But that's because of the forces behind it that have a powerful voice. But I'm just saying we might not, and let's not all pretend like Bryce Harper is the big expert, or that anybody right now can predict what's happening. So all I'm doing with my tone is pushing back on this idea that this is how all players feel when, wow, that's weird, because until they voted in 2022, we thought how all players felt was that they were going to reject the CBA and the 2022 season was going to be seriously impacted. And they ended up playing 162 games because the rank and file players said, yeah, me and my 3 daughters and my wife, we need a paycheck.
Kevin, flipping it back to the Padres real quick. Fletch and I were talking earlier about how it felt like a big win last night because the Mets are a good ball club. A lot has been made of the record of 23 and 34, I believe, against teams above 500. What do you think that's kind of an overblown stat, or do you think that there's something to that? The Padres aren't beating the better teams.
I think there can be something to that. I mean, the reality, it's bad. I haven't checked in the last few days, and those things can flip when, a team like the Cardinals or the Diamondbacks goes above or below 500. But I know that, the number, whatever, it's bad. It was by far the worst in the major leagues to start the second half. And so that was big to them. And I wrote about it, that they met before that Phillies series and said, hey, come on. I mean, it's a part of their regular hitters meetings, not like this big closed door meeting, but they met and they talked about, we got to do better against these guys. They took 2 or 3 from the Phillies. They beat the Mets last night. They're working on it. The fact is this: playoff teams build their record on the backs of bad teams. You are always, except one time in Major League history, if you're a playoff team, you had a winning record against teams 500 or below. Just a fact. And a lot of playoff teams have a losing record against winning teams in the regular season. It happens. Now, the Padres have been unusually bad, and yes, they've addressed it.
Kevin, before we let you go, this Thursday, Antonio Gates will be honored in the Hall of Fame game. The Chargers are playing in it. And then this Saturday, I think, is the day he officially gets inducted into the Hall of Fame for professional football. Where does he go down as one of your favorite players to cover? Is Gatesy pretty high on the list?
Pretty high on the list. Good guy, smooth, just, yeah, what a player. Made, a real nice tandem with Phillip Rivers. What a story. And yeah, really, really good guy.
That's pretty cool that he's getting in, man. It should be fun. All right, Kev, you have fun, man, the next couple of days. Are you like the rest of us? You're just on Jeff Passan's Twitter account the whole time, or what do you do over the next couple of days?
No, I pretty much wait. When I can, I'll talk to people and just see, hey, we got anything brewing here? You're not going to tell me what it is, but we got anything brewing? What's happening? What are you guys thinking? Then when they get off a player, they maybe tell me then. It's like this. And then it's like, okay, I'm just going to wait and see. You said something earlier about, or maybe it was Sam. I don't know. But you guys were talking about what's really happening. And that's where, what's going on? What I want to know. I can't wait till this guy, whoever they get, comes in and we see how he does. That's what I'm looking forward to. I don't care who it is. That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm also looking forward to tonight's game against Sean Manaea. I like wins, losses, hits, outs, great plays by Fernando Tatis Jr. That's what I love about this job. The next 48 hours, I endure the next 48 hours so I can do the rest of this cool job.
All right, Kev. Well, you're the best, man. We appreciate the hell out of you. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys. See you.
Kevin Acee on San Diego Sports 760. Brought to you by the all-new Jamul Casino Resort. The Players Place.
Sammy Long is stewing. He's been stewing all show. We're going to get to why coming up next. Thank you to Kevin Acee. That was a fun chat with him. That's next. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
You know what's more fun than winning money by yourself? It's winning money with your boys, with your family. Like people have said, what do you want for Christmas, Sammy? I don't want a gift. I want lottery tickets. Okay. I want bets. I want bets placed for me. I want something I can look forward to down the road. On the show here, we believe in squad ride W's. This is why you got to check out Circa Survivor. It's $1,000 to enter. So grab 9 of your friends or family, go in $100 each. Or if you and your buddy are confident, split the grand yourself. You pick one team each week to win their matchup. Once you burn a team, you can't pick them again this season. So Sammy Claus is going to give you a tip. Okay, people come in here and they go Circus Survivor. They go, oh, I'm going to pick the Chiefs. I'm going to pick the Bills, the Eagles, all the best teams. No, you want to wait. You want to pick the upsets. Vegas, you have an edge over Vegas the first month in the season because they don't have the lines wired in tight. This is where you got to go for some upsets. You got to take risks early so you can have your big boys down the stretch. For Circa Million, you have the ability to win $15 million. All you got to do is go 20-0 or outlast the competition. Now, everyone knows when you try to plan a vacation with the friend group, someone wants the high-priced dinner, someone wants the helicopter ride, but let's just agree we meet at the sports book. If you and your group are having trouble on deciding on things and coming to a consensus on a weekly pick for Circa Survivor may not be right for you. Don't worry. Circa's got you covered with Circa Million, where you don't need friends to tell you what to pick. All you need to do is pick 5 teams against the spread each week. You win up to $6 million in guaranteed prizes. Winner gets $1 million. And get this, if you're the worst entry in the pool, you win the booby prize, which is $100,000 to the worst entry. Sign up in Nevada, play from anywhere, and win your money now with Circa.
All right, for a final time today, it's San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher and Sammy along with you. John and Jim are taking over in just a few minutes. I got 3 things, and we got about 3 minutes to do it. So, Sammy, let's rip through these. First of all, comment from our buddy Alexander. Sammy looks like Garth from Wayne's World if he got a 9-to-5 job. That's hilarious. Thank you, Alexander.
That's pretty good, Alexander.
You do look like Garth from Wayne's World if you got a 9-to-5.
No one's gotten Ralphie yet. That was what I got as the little kid.
From A Christmas Story?
Yeah.
It's because you're starting to turn into a man. You don't have a chubby face anymore. You probably had it when you were chubby face, Sammy.
It's a little, I like that. Garth from Wayne's World?
Are you putting Bohemian Rhapsody on the map?
Yeah.
You know, that song was a flop. And then Wayne's World
and then
had
they did it, and it went to number 1, like all those years later.
By the way, I saw Ozzy Osbourne, Crazy Train, charted on the Billboard Top 100 for the first time.
Top 5
ever
of any music, and Mama I'm Coming Home also got top 10 as well.
Crazy. I mean, so cool, but also heartbreaking and also crazy all at the same time. All right, number 2, Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson are coming out with the new movie, The New Naked Gun.
Thursday.
They're this Thursday, and they're dating.
They're dating.
So Liam Neeson, I believe his wife passed away tragically like decades ago and hasn't had another girlfriend since. And now Pamela Anderson and Liam Neeson dating. How cool is that?
Shout out to Pam and Liam.
There's a bunch of 13-year-olds from like the 1980s who are pissed at Liam Neeson right now. Just fuming.
Hey, Liam's a cool dude. And
Liam
you know
Neeson.
that if something ever happens, he will get you back.
Yeah. If you ever get taken, you want Liam Neeson as your dad. That's just the rule. Tom Cruise and Ana de Armas are dating. Do we care? Do we care? Do we care?
Hell yeah, we care. Tom Cruise is one of the last remaining movie stars.
I believe that's like a 20-year age gap. She's like 37.
She was with Ben Affleck before him, though.
That's kind of wild, man. Tom Cruise, good for you. And then lastly, Sammy's been stewing all day. I've been able to tell there's something off about him. I couldn't really tell what that was. Patrick Mahomes not getting a 99 overall in Madden. Is that what it is?
No, I'm actually thrilled because, as Nick Wright likes to put out, it's bulletin board material.
Of course, it's bulletin board material. Who was a 99 overall? I know Lane Johnson.
Josh Allen was one. Lamar Jackson. We love this. I push this out. I hope Patrick hears this. I hope at training camp they're reading this to him right now about the fact that he's not 99 overall.
Do you really think he cares?
Oh, I think Mahomes takes everything personally, which is why he's that kind of level of quarterback.
All right, and how about just a warning for everyone out there? Over the next 48 hours as we lead up to the trade deadline, there will be fake tweets, there will be fake Facebook posts, there will be fake Instagram posts nonstop from accounts that look like they're Jeff Passan. They're not Jeff Passan. In fact, there's one up right now.
NBA Cento.
I would like to emphasize this very, very clearly. This is not a real report, but there is a fake account that I have seen people fall for that Dylan Cease has already been traded to the Dodgers. That did not happen.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
That did not happen, but it's out there and people are falling for it.
We got a bunch of texts that we're going to get to tomorrow. We want to thank all you. We hit over 1,000 on the stream.
How about it?
Record, never done it before. So that's all to all you beautiful people out there.
John and Jim coming up next. We out. Jim actually has a great tweet up right now too, but we'll talk to you tomorrow.